Nah. I tried to drive a little bit on Thursday when it was starting to melt, and even walking out to the car was just random pieces of black ice. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need anything. I got chicken in the freezer.
Everything here's just been so chill, honestly. It's kind of
Hmm.
hard to complain about much of anything.
Sure. And now it's 72 again. I'm sweating, so I don't even know what to do.
That's
Classic.
crazy.
Classic.
Classic.
Wait, what?
Hmm.
I'm just seeing what you shared, Johnny.
Oh yeah, it's wild.
What?
Is
Oh,
it-
which
is this the
thing?
Iowa?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. There's also a loophole. He can still get that 50K without doing it. Leave it to Sicko's committee. They
insane.
found the loophole in the contract. It's not even that bad, honestly, though. Like, I know 50K is a lot, like, for most people. But, like, it's like, hey,
Yeah.
instead of getting paid 900, you're getting paid 850. And how do I make it as easy as possible for you to get that? You literally
Yeah.
need 7 wins, including the bowl game. And he's basically asking for the offense to be ranked 88th in the country.
Yep.
Because that's like what it would have been this year. I'm like, this is insane. And he's probably going to get it because the West is going to be better because it can't be worse. But it's still not going to be great. It's not going to be great. And Iowa really should win that division this year. With even just with Cade McNamara, they should win the division.
You would think.
Yeah.
They should. I mean, everybody else sucks.
It's true.
Ooh, Marquette's plus 3.5.
Oh, gosh.
Interesting.
I think I'm good if you guys are.
I think I'm good. I had a weird update with Audacity, but I think I've everything set back up to the way it was. So I'm just gonna do a quick test.
Cool.
Cool. That was a spike. I'm good to go.
All right. I'll start my recording. All right, check 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm good. Here we go. Welcome to the Fifth and Goal Podcast. My name is Aaron. I am joined once again by my good friends Josh and Johnny. We are back with another episode. It is episode 98. Gentlemen, it's good to be back with you both. Josh, did you survive all the icky ice and whatever else Dallas,
the
Texas was
icky-
serving up for you?
Dallas, Texas, I swear, can you do a normal snow? Can you do a normal snow? Because I've not seen it yet. All I get is either 0 degrees, which freezes all y'all's pipes down here
Mm.
and shuts down the power, or it's like weird, stupid ice that, because it's 30 degrees the entire week, never fully melts, and so you're just putting more ice down. I literally scraped in like a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice off of my car on Thursday.
Wow.
And I moved south for that. I moved south to not have to worry about that. And now it's 72 degrees today. Texas, please pick a season. Stay in winter and get salt and get trucks to handle it, or stay in this weird like fall, spring, whatever it is. Do one, but don't do both. I
Mhm.
moved south for one. I'll go back up to Ohio if it's going to be like this.
Well, we'd welcome you if you ever venture up here. Johnny, what's up, man? How's your week?
Good week. Good week so far. Aaron, I think you mentioned it in our pre-show, and I don't even know if Josh knows this yet. He probably does not, but we have a podcast mascot now.
We do.
We do. So
I want to see.
I
Well,
will
he's
not
sleeping,
be
but-
showing him even on the YouTube channel because, and I'll even say his name very quietly because hopefully he stays quiet during this podcast and is not barking from his crate and is sleeping. That is the hope, at least. That was why we went to the dog park for an hour before this. So,
Nice.
This week I got a golden retriever. So we got a little
Yay.
13-week-old little pup in the crate right now, hopefully snoozing.
Fantastic.
His name, which I will say really quietly again, is Archer. So
Oh,
nice.
take that for what
Yes.
you will. You know, lots
so
of
cute.
nicknames there. You could say he's named after Archie Griffin if you want. That's cool. That's all the things. So when he's bad, his
Isn't
name is
Archie
Archibald.
one of the characters in one of our favorite TV shows,
No.
Oh,
Riverdale?
nope. One of the worst shows of all time.
Oh
Sure,
my.
sure, Josh.
Have you all seen?
Absolutely.
Okay, I realized we need to talk about sports, just the Super Bowl or something. Did you know what happens in like season 6 and 7? There's like
Oh yeah.
You don't need to get me
and, like, it
riled up
becomes
before we even
supernatural.
talk about Kyrie Irving, dude.
It used to be
Before-
this. It used to be. This is what Kyrie Irving sees in a normal day. It starts with some weird, drug deal gone bad, and now they're like angels and demons in this little town, and they're all still in
What?
high school, even though they're clearly 35. Like, it absolutely has gone off the rails. I think we need to look. I think we need to start watching it again.
I think they need to be sent immediately to jail. The writers of that show.
That could be arranged, probably.
Could be arranged.
Yeah, that I feel like our conversation about Riverdale that goes back a long ways. That we need to put that behind some kind of paywall, not so we get money from the conversation, but basically it's like
It decentivizes people wanting to know about it.
exactly
To save
Correct.
everyone from it.
correct.
That's truly. Oh my goodness.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is
$1,000 a month on Patreon. We will talk about Riverdale.
That's right. Well, yeah, my week was good as well. Took in some college basketball. Watched a little bit of the Pro Bowl. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Get your guys' thoughts whether that was good or bad. But yeah, overall, a good week. Looking forward to the Super Bowl, certainly. And that's where we'll start off today's show. No surprise. The Super Bowl is here. Super Bowl LVII, or if you don't read Roman numerals, that's Super Bowl 57. So, of course, we have the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, both entering at 16-3. Both have, ironically, scored identical number of points this season. But I'm curious what you guys think. The line coming out pretty early and staying fairly steady so far has been the Eagles, 1.5-point favorites. But curious your guys' thoughts. I do think it's going to be a close, competitive game. You really have strength on strength in so many different categories. And I think we're in for a treat in the Super Bowl, but I'll open it up. I've got some thoughts of my own, but you guys go ahead and start. What do you think we're going to see in this Super Bowl?
I can tell you the exact score because someone leaks the script, and this is
Oh no.
Those have been the best tweets
it's
all
the
week.
best tweet.
So thank you, Arian Foster, for that gem of a clip this week. We all loved that.
So 37-34. Listen, I'm not joking. That's my prediction. Eagles 37, Kansas City 34. I can give you the line. I got everything for you.
If that happens, so
and-
help me.
Do I get like 10 points if that's what happens? That's what I want. I want 10 points.
I don't know about
That's
10.
a lot.
That's too much.
I want 10. If it is exactly 37-34 with the Chiefs scoring 10, 14, nothing, and what is that? Another 10. I can if I can give you the quarter by quarter like breakdown.
Okay.
From this clip?
If you give me the final score quarter by quarter, the NFL MVP and the game MVP, then sure, I'll give you 10 points, Josh.
I'll give you the attendance too. Yeah, I got you.
Okay, sure. Give me the freaking attendance too. Oh my god.
Yeah, how many people are going to
63
be crammed into State Farm Stadium, or whatever they call it?
63,381. Easy.
Right.
Next.
Nice.
Time of game. You want time of game?
Well, okay, that one
got
we
you.
kind of know, but yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Always take the over.
What I was going to say with this, I actually am having a really tough time picking this game personally.
Yeah.
And let me explain my logic for that. I think the Eagles are better at almost every single position actually compared to the Chiefs, except for quarterback. And that's no dig on Jalen Hurts at all. I think there's two pieces of that. One, just Patrick Mahomes has been in the league a lot longer. And I don't think it's a hot take to say that he's just more gifted and natural of a thrower than Jalen Hurts. He's just a better quarterback. And that's fine, guys. Like pretty much all 31 other guys in the league are not as good of a quarterback as Patrick Mahomes. I'll go to bat with Joe Burrow, but you get my point. The other thing is Jalen Hurts getting injured at the end of the season. And despite having the bye week, despite sitting that time out, and despite having 2 weeks to in between the NFC title game and the Super Bowl, his shoulder did not look right in the Giants game, and it did not look right against the 49ers. Now, they didn't need him. Those games got so out of hand so quickly because, again, they have phenomenal lockdown corners. The inside in the trenches, especially the interior of the defensive line, is outstanding. You have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Goddard at tight end. You have 3 running backs, including Miles Sanders, you can throw at them. You have Pro Bowl offensive linemen, including Kelsey there. There's so many advantages that half the time, and again, the Eagles struggled without Jalen Hurts, so he clearly is a necessary cog in this machine. But they have so many advantages. There's times where it's like, Jalen, just get the ball out, get the ball on time, don't screw it up, and we'll destroy them. It feels very San Francisco 49ers-like almost. There's so much, and that's not to say that the Chiefs aren't excellent in many positions. Chris Jones was phenomenal against the Bengals. Those rookie corners, especially in the secondary, were outstanding. Now, you were at home. Your back was against the wall in that game. There's not really an underdog card to be played in this Super Bowl, in my opinion. What will those young corners and that young secondary do for Kansas City in this game, where most of these excellent skill position players and great players for the Eagles in general are mostly all veteran players? They've been there, done that. So my biggest question about the Eagles coming into the game is Jalen Hurts' shoulder healthy? Is it ready to go? If you could tell me he's even 90, 95%, I'm riding with the Eagles. But that's a big assumption, and we're not really going to know that until he starts to throw the ball downfield in this game. And there will be a point in time in this game where Jalen Hurts needs to make some plays, and not just with his legs, with his arm as well. So you know what you're going to get out of Mahomes. He's going to be outstanding in this game no matter what happens. But as you saw against Tampa, he needs some help. He needs protection. He needs some time. And I think what will maybe be the biggest problem in this game, he needs wide receivers to separate from these Eagles corners and secondary. I think that will be very, very difficult for anybody outside of Travis Kelce in this game, especially with those wide receivers coming in a little banged up.
Johnny, to that point, there's 2 reasons why I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to eke out a close Super Bowl win. Number 1 is what you just talked about. I don't think we're going to see the kind of offensive line play from Kansas City in this game that we did in that Super Bowl loss to Tampa Bay, where Patrick Mahomes was literally running for his life the entire game. Number 1, the offensive line is better. They're far more healthy than they were that season. But you're also playing against a defense in Philadelphia that had 70 sacks this season. There wasn't a team that had more than 55 sacks outside of the Philadelphia Eagles. 70 sacks. Obviously, it kind of goes without saying, but here's just some of the players that are probably going to be in the backfield at some point. Javon Hargrave, 11 sacks in the regular season. Of course, Hassan Reddick, 16. Josh Sweat, another 11 sacks.
Outstanding.
Brandon
players.
Graham, 11. You have 4 players. So that's the thing. It's not like Kansas City can just hone in on one of these players. They have all 4 front 4 guys can wreak havoc. And by the way, the secondary for Philadelphia, not that bad either. So I think, and Patrick Mahomes, I think he did great, right? Patrick Mahomes was excellent against the Bengals, despite that banged up ankle, but he was only sacked once. He didn't have to make a ton of plays outside the pocket, and he did make plays outside the pocket, but he wasn't forced to all the time. And I'm worried for his sake that I think the Eagles may force him to do that. Here's the other thing. The Eagles have been the best team, historically even, in the NFL in being able to rush the football. They are undefeated, 14-0 when they rush for 100 yards or more. And I think they're going to find a way to rush 100 yards or more. You know what also you do when you rush for 100 yards or more? You also keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. I think the Eagles have a good opportunity to not only control the game at the line of scrimmage, but ultimately to control the time of possession. Keep Mahomes on the sideline. I expect Jalen Hurts to do exactly what you said, Johnny. Make plays when he needs to. I don't think he's going to make the big mistake. I think he's going to take care of the ball. He's got a lot of weapons, arguably, maybe not even arguably, better weapons than Patrick Mahomes has. I think A.J. Brown can have a big night. We'll see, but I like the Eagles, maybe in a 7-point game, but I do like Philadelphia in this game for those reasons. There's also one thing I'll also add. the Philadelphia Eagles, we talked about this last week. The Eagles played the Giants and then the 49ers with their fourth string quarterback. Their combined score in those two games was 69-14. Their defense, which I just said was excellent, and it has been, and that may be the strength, the unit with the biggest strength on the field on Sunday. They just chilled. They've been able to hang out, and like, not that they haven't worked hard, but they've never been in a pressure situation. They've been able to get subs in there. They've been able to rest. Meanwhile, Kansas City, it's taken all that they have in the tank to get past Jacksonville and Cincinnati. Now, I know there's a 2-week break, but at some point, that matters. McCole Hartman, we already know, is not going to play for the Chiefs. The Chiefs are arguably far less healthy than the Philadelphia Eagles, and that matters a ton. That really does.
And Aaron, I'd like to play devil's advocate with you there of like, well, if you weren't in those pressure situations, are you ready to go when that happens inevitably in the Super Bowl? However, this is not I know they didn't make the Super Bowl, but it's not a young like Jaguars team led by Blake Bortles that was running in and they got tight against the Patriots at the very last moment in that AFC title game. This is a veteran team. You could argue there's several fantastic players on this defense and maybe even on the offensive line that would potentially think about retiring after this if they win for the Eagles. So with that in mind, you don't need to be worried about these players being up, being ready, being prepared and focused when it comes to this game. If this is a young Eagles team, I would even say if they were all closer to around the age of Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith as a whole, I would be more concerned about that. But those three players are not the norm. They're on the young side for this team. Most of them are old. You got Lane Johnson. I already mentioned Kelsey. You have Fletcher Cox. This is a fantastic, all around, well-rounded team. I expect them to be ready. There is the one thing though, and this is, as we're talking, everyone's like, well, I mean, geez, how we're killing Kansas City. Right. They don't have a chance in this game. Two big things, and they're the two biggest advantages really that a team can have going into a game. So this is why we're struggling with it, because on paper, Philly should win this game. Really almost easily, not like destroy them, but they really on paper should win this game by 13 points, in my opinion. Like they're that much better at position to Kansas City. They haven't paid their quarterback yet. The Chiefs have. This is what happens. The Chiefs have Andy Reid, who's probably the best coach in the NFL right now. And they have the best quarterback in the league in Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
And that is the great equalizer. And because of those two things, there's going to be a time and place when Mahomes does some stupid magic trick and fits a ball in there. There's a point in time where Andy Reid's going to have a couple play calls that you're like, what the heck? Where did that come from? And gets him a 40-yard completion. So there's going to be moments and opportunities in this game that I'm really like fascinated by this game. There's been plenty of Super Bowls that I've come into. Maybe the first one that comes into my mind is Denver and Seattle, that I came into thinking, man, this will be a great game. And it's a huge letdown disappointment. I think there's been more of those Super Bowls than there has been, oh, wow, this lived up to the hype. So maybe this is also just us being optimistic and hoping for a really good end to the football season too. But it should be fun. It should be fun.
Well, to your point, I think a lot of people are looking at this contest and seeing the offenses that we have on the field and thinking, oh, this is going to be a high scoring game. I don't necessarily think that's going to be true. If I had to bet the over under of 50, I would bet the under, partially because the under has hit, I believe, in the last 4 years. But I do think the Eagles are going to try to suck the life out of the Kansas City offense by running the ball again, keeping control, time of possession. I talked at the beginning, strength on strength. Perhaps this stat shows the ultimate strength on strength. In the NFL, Kansas City leads all 32 franchises in yards per pass attempt. The best defense, the team that's giving up the least yards per pass attempt? Of course, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm fascinated to see. Now, again, considering the Chiefs ran for 40 yards against Cincinnati, can they do that? Can they manufacture enough rushing yards to keep Philadelphia honest? Or are they going to struggle running the ball yet again? But you're right, Johnny. At the end of the day, the Eagles, it looks like they have strength in just about every category. But Patrick Mahomes, man, he's just different. So who knows? But the offensive line is going to have to find ways to give him time. And you're right about Andy Reid too. Andy Reid is going to have all kinds of play calls, getting the ball out of his hand extremely quickly. It should be a blast. I'm looking forward to it.
A quick tip for you degenerate betting men out there.
Oh, yes.
And women, I don't care. Y'all can still bet. Bet the over on the national anthem. It has gone over. First off, every single country artist has gone over. And I forget
who is it this year, Josh?
Give me a sec. I should have had this up. I had it up on my phone, but I don't have it on my laptop. Let's do that thing where we Google real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got Chris Stapleton. We got Chris Stapleton this year.
Oh, okay. I mean, what bets do you get in the Super Bowl every year, Josh? I mean, you get the coin flip, you get the national anthem. What else?
I think you're doing like there's something commercial related, but I don't remember. It's not what commercial. It's like there's like commercial length or like brand commercial things. I don't know.
Gosh.
Commercials have kind of fallen off the
brand or something. Like what's the first
things
commercial?
like that.
And that's hard too because like there are people out there that know the answer to that.
Yeah, that's cheating.
So it could
exactly
like that. There is actually a script for that.
There is actually genuinely very, very legally so because they spend a lot of money on specific slots.
Just know, guys, if you bet any of that, just remember the NFL's scripted, and therefore it's a shot in the dark for all of us peasants. We have no idea what's going on.
For all you kids who listen to our show who aren't old enough yet to gamble, it means you're young enough to still probably, I don't know, get in with the script writers of the NFL. You think Tom Brady just stumbled across his script? No, he did have to earn it a little bit in college. Like, like, oh man, this guy's got a good work ethic. This could be a fun side plot.
Oh my gosh.
So go out there and get you a good contract.
Oh my. Well, speaking of side contract,
Speaking of contract,
yeah, it is time to talk about someone who retired for the second time. It is, of course, Tom Brady. He retired again. I'm kind of just saying in passing, like not that it's not significant because again, we are talking about the greatest quarterback of all time retiring. But even he admitted it. Like, hey guys, this is my second time doing this. I understand there's not going to be as much fanfare. Of course, that didn't stop someone from selling the sand where he was standing, giving his retirement for. I think last I looked on eBay, it was at $80,000. So you people are insane. You people are.
It's sand, guys. It's sand. It's the same.
And
yep.
99. It's right at 99,000 right now.
It's rough and coarse and gets everywhere.
Yep.
All over the place.
I hate it. Yeah. So, anyways, that happened. I don't know if I really have anything to add. I will say, I guess, that we have gotten several comments on this show like, hey, you guys hate Tom Brady. Like, well, no, we don't hate him, but we are in some ways tired of talking about him, especially the last couple seasons where his play on the field hasn't necessarily warranted some of the talk that he's got. But look, we get it. There's no denying it. He is the greatest of all time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And there's no question about that. It will be interesting. We already know that he is headed to the broadcast booth. He had a deal lined up with Fox quite a while ago. It was announced today, or he kind of announced it, that's going to start in the fall of 2024. So he's kind of taken a year off, I guess, if you will, and then joining the Fox broadcast booth. I'm okay with it because, again, we talked about it last week. I think Greg Olsen is fantastic. So I'm here for another year of Greg Olsen, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, so. I think I think it's real. I will say this. I think it's real this time. I think Tom will be done. I don't think he wants to be. He's not usually a flip-flopper anyway, which is why it did kind of surprise me last year, just because he's usually makes a decision and sticks with it. I think this is real. I'm happy for him just as a person taking some time off in between. Yep. Tom, I hope you have a beer and some ice cream, man. Like just and not the avocado kind. Not the avocado kind. Like you know, Aaron said, we might come across as almost just annoyed by him. I think that's legitimate. There's people who are annoyed with LeBron right now because we've just watched them for so long. We take them for granted. I'm sure
Mhm.
5-10 years down the road, we'll be like, man, he was so incredibly good. I mean, LeBron's dropping 30 a night right now, and everybody just kind of rolls their eyes at it. Like, of course, these guys are doing things that seemed impossible. But I'm happy for him. I hope he's successful in the next chapter too.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree with that. All right.
Yeah.
There's our NFL preview. Super Bowl on Sunday. We'll, of course, be breaking that down next week. Obviously, we'll give our picks here in a minute as well for our picks of the week. But before we do that, there was actually a Woj bomb that dropped in the NBA. Of course, one Kyrie Irving. There's lots to say about this particular individual, but he demanded a trade, and Brooklyn said, all right, you're out of here. So let me break down the trade, and then we'll discuss. So the Dallas Mavericks are sending Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2029 first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks, one in 27 and one in 29, to the Brooklyn Nets for, of course, Kyrie Irving and also Markieff Morris. It's also worth noting that Irving is in the last year of his deal. He was seeking an extension in the neighborhood of a 4-year, basically $200 million max contract available to him. So that was according to some sources. Josh, thanks for putting that in the show notes. I forgot to do that, so thanks for the assist there. But guys, your thoughts on this trade? Is this good for Dallas? Is this bad? Is this good for Brooklyn? Is it bad? There's a lot to break down here. But just Josh, you're a native. What's Dallasan? What's the right word?
What is
Dallasonian?
Dallasites? I don't
Dallasite, not that one.
Dallasite. Everything sounds weird and
Yeah, it
bad,
does.
and Texan is too generic. And also team.
True.
So this is a really conflicting moment. I was just talking to someone about this earlier at the office. The Mavs need, and they've been trying to get a good solid number 2 for Luka.
Yep.
Like for the past year and a half, 2 years, and no one has stuck. We've talked about this a few times. We talked about this during the playoffs back in May and June. Luka's averaging 38 points a night right now. They are 2 games above 500. And that puts them second in the Southwest, but that's still not great. And Luka has, rightly so, expressed frustration that he has to drop almost 40 a night. I believe, and I should double check the stats. I think he had one of the most productive Decembers as far as points, rebounds, assists since Wilt Chamberlain. Absolute beast of a guy. And when it's just you, and again, we saw this, when it's just him, it did no one. He's not going to be able to, Mavs are going to be able to do a thing. So they've needed a solid number 2. Is Kyrie Irving that guy? No. Historically not.
Yeah.
1 year with the Cavs back a billion years ago at this point? Kyrie Irving goes, he talks about, and he goes to a team and there's excitement, and then about a year and a half later he's talking about the flat earth and wanting to trade. And after a while you have to realize, just like with any good relationship, maybe it's not the team, maybe it's you. Maybe you're the problem. And so this is Luka, and we also got to remember this guy's Kyrie Irving's 30, volatile, injury prone, and is not a guaranteed team player necessarily. At least it's not apparent to us.
You're being nice there, Josh. You're pulling your punch. He's not a guaranteed team player. You're being quite kind by phrasing it in a positive
Josh
manner.
is just a kind person. So this is.
Yeah,
I can't imagine Luka and Irving sharing the ball.
Yes.
Can I?
There's going to be a lot more. Everybody's going to take so many looks, selfish looks, and it's not going to. He's going to try and he wants to be the number 1, even though Luka is clearly leagues better than him at this point. So,
Josh, would this stat surprise you? With
give
the
me the
Nets?
stats. Give me the stats.
Kyrie has played 143 games for the Nets in his career.
Congratulations.
Do you know how many games he's missed? 145. 145. This man
gave,
and
we gave
that
Ben
contract
Simmons
that Aaron said, that 190 mil, The sticking point for the Nets in part was Kyrie wanted it fully guaranteed.
Yep.
And the Nets wanted stipulations of playing in the games.
Don't just
Kyrie
show up
said,
for the
I was
playoffs.
on my best behavior for 2 months. Please pay me a fully guaranteed contract.
Money, please. No.
I can't.
Josh, you started with a really good point. You're absolutely right about Dallas needing someone for Luka. This is, again, a shout out to Paul Hembakaitis on Twitter. If you like nerd stats like I do, then you got to give him a follow. Here's the top offensive rating in the NBA this season belongs to the Denver Nuggets, and the rating is 117.4. Don't ask me what those numbers mean. I'm not totally sure. But get that number in your head, 117.4. The Dallas Mavericks, when Luka is on the floor, is better, 118.7. So Luka on the floor, the best offensive rating this season. Now we take you to the Charlotte Hornets, who have the worst offensive rating in the NBA with 108.9. The Dallas Mavericks, without Luka on the floor, have a rating of 106.8. So, in review, if you fell asleep for the last minute because I said numbers, number one, I get it. Number two, Luka on the floor, the Dallas Mavericks are the best offense in the NBA. Without him on the floor, they are the worst. It is that much of a difference with him on or off the floor. So you're absolutely right, Josh. The Dallas front office had to do something. And I agree with both of you. This is not the answer.
It's not going to work.
No.
Is it better? Man, because you're
talent-wise.
Talent-wise,
sure.
But like long term, let's say. I mean, if this trade happened like 2 or 3 months ago, when it was even more volatile of a situation, we'd all be going, "This is the worst trade ever." Like, and it's still I would still say, well, here, let's talk about this. Do the Nets actually walk away with a positive?
Yes, because it's an addition by subtraction.
Yes, the Nets won.
That's
Also,
what I mean. That's what I'm thinking.
He was going to walk at the end of the year. So you were, and I will say this, remember, they signed him as a free agent. So they are tight. And I know the picks are in 27 and 29. So it's hard to feel like a win. And if Kyrie wasn't an issue off the court, I would say, Mavs, well done. That's for Kyrie's talent and caliber of player. It's great. It's all the extras though. He's blown up everything. It was going around Twitter. There's people already trying to, Josh, you talked about the bittersweet in Dallas. There's people already trying to talk themselves into, oh, it'll work this time. It was the Nets front office. The Nets front office, they tried everything.
They did.
They got you James Harden. No, we don't like him. We don't get along. Okay, well, here's Ben Simmons then. No, that doesn't work either. Well, I could have told you both of those. Like, you're never there. You're never available. Anytime that you have any remote excuse to not be there, you take it. And he's talking about, oh, this is bigger than basketball. Kyrie, that's cool, man. If it's bigger than basketball and you want to go focus on those things, that's awesome. More power to you. Like, if you want to go,
don't demand a max contracts then.
Yeah, but this is not the job for you. Like, this is not the job for you then. What other job can you say, hey, I'm going to be there half the time, but I still want paid at the highest caliber in my field? What? No, you're a part-time employee, my friend. And the Nets were hypothetically maybe even willing to offer you a max contract, just incentive-based in the max contract rather than guaranteed. That was more than reasonable. The Nets catered to everything. I actually think that this is somewhat of a warning to everyone. Now, I don't think most players are like Kyrie. Kyrie's his own man, but it's a warning to these franchises that we're just trying to put together these super teams really quick, that you cannot just cater to all of these players. You need to have a real team. You need to have control of what's going on. Your players cannot also be the coach and making general manager decisions. It's too much power for one or two guys. It doesn't work. That's why I said this Brooklyn experiment was going to be a bust from the beginning. It's been an even bigger bust than I even thought it would be. It's terrible. I can't even imagine what Kevin Durant's thinking right now, but he brought this upon himself. So I don't feel bad for them.
No.
I think this is a bad decision for Dallas. Are they more talented now? Sure. But the
Yes.
problem of this whole thing is we're not even talking about what I think will also be an issue is spacing on the floor. Who's actually running the point? Because Luka likes
Right.
running that point forward position where he brings the
Yeah.
ball up. Well, Kyrie has to be on the ball. Also, now you have two bad defenders in the game at the same time, where Spencer
you're not
Dinwiddie's
increasing
at
there.
least decent, and you got rid of your best defensive wing in the trade as well. So
Johnny, they were the
there's
7th
some
worst
issues
defensive
here.
team before the trade.
Right. And you got rid of, like, Spencer Dinwiddie's not a great defender, but he's better than Kyrie. Finney Smith is a decent two-way player. So I know you have to give up something to get somebody with the talent of Kyrie. You don't get it for free, obviously. We know this. But that, man, we're not even talking about that primarily.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. That's the problem, that we're not even talking about issues on the basketball court and what Jason Kidd's going to have to do to make this work. We're talking about everything else. And that's why it's just a bad decision. If I'm the Nets, I say good riddance, man. I'm glad we got something out of this. Can we just move on? And they'll still make the playoffs. I will say this. The Nets will still make the playoffs as long as they hang on Kevin Durant.
Yep.
They'll make the playoffs in the East. Now, will they be able to do much of anything? No. I mean, maybe a first round series win, depending on the matchup, but that is maximum. If I were the Nets after this season, you have Kevin Durant, I believe, for 3 more years. I am exploring options in that department as well, because you are stuck in the middle. And if you don't think that you can improve the roster enough around Kevin Durant, I am shopping Ben Simmons. I am shopping Kevin Durant. I don't think anyone's going to want to take
a
Ben
35-year-old.
Simmons.
Yeah, Kevin Durant.
But Josh, there would be a lot of takers for Kevin Durant.
Oh yeah,
and
at
that
the very
would be
least,
a quick.
at least he's less volatile.
That
That's
man,
weird to say.
we can
but-
say anything we want about Kevin, but the dude likes to ball.
Yep.
And so if
Yeah.
he's healthy, he's on the court and he's available and playing.
Yeah.
And so I have my criticisms of him, but he loves playing. So
Yeah.
there'd be a lot of suitors, and that'd be a way to jumpstart the Nets as a franchise. That would be my advice to them. But I just kind of laughed. I really didn't think Dallas would be the one to pull this off.
No,
I did think he'd
feel like
go to the Lakers.
I feel like, well, the Mavs were originally planning on just waiting until the offseason, which is a long ways away at this point.
Mhm.
And I think that was starting to look untenable for them. Luka's 23. We got time. There's plenty of time, but there's also a frustration building.
Mhm.
If, again, he's having to drop 40 points and they're barely second in the division. And so hopefully what this looks like is kind of like what the Steelers did to Trubisky. Give him like a 2-year contract, give him something, try him out, let him see. Will Irving take that? Doesn't matter. No one else is taking him at this point. And just maybe see, give him 3 or 4 years, incentive-based. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting trade. I don't care for it. I'm hoping that it works out well despite our misgivings. I will say someone who has
It will
made
work
out
in the regular season, though.
Yes. I will say, who has made out in this trade, though? The
Mhm.
Houston Rockets. The Rockets now have every Nets first-round pick between now and 2027, thanks to that James
gosh.
Harden trade.
Oh,
Wow.
The Nets also just traded their second best player for, basically a bunch of potentials. And now they're going to try and win around Durant, however they want to build. At the same time, the Rockets are in the same division as the Mavs. The Mavs have just put what'll end up being a ton of resources into, again, a 30-year-old volatile player who is not guaranteed to work out, but is going to demand a lot of cap space. There's a chance that just by all of these little laws of averages, Houston's going to end up taking a little bit more prominent of a role just by default in case if this Mavs trade goes real south and there's real bad animosity on the court and off the court between Luka and Irving. Like, this could be a really interesting backdoor butterfly effect, like, benefit for the Rockets.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the Mavs are throwing more into win now mode for sure. Josh, I do have a question for you though around the Kyrie topic, him going to Dallas. Do you think which conspiracy theory do you think he's going to latch onto for the JFK assassination?
JFK assassination. I was just thinking about that because there were no joke QAnon supporters, I want to say about 6 months ago, who went to Dealey Plaza and they were expecting JFK Jr. to arrive in the flesh. He died a few years ago, but apparently he didn't. So either he was going to resurrect or he never died. So there's a lot of potential for things he could latch onto. Dealey Plaza, and whenever you guys get back down here for the Red River Showdown or wherever you go, wherever we end up, we can go to Dealey Plaza, and there's always there's the red brick building. And there's a little mark in a window, and that's like the hole where the sniper allegedly was. And there's also down at the bottom, there's just these guys with like newspapers from that day. Obviously, they have the routes kind of marked, and they have like an X where where the shot actually happens on the street. There's so many guys down there who will just like talk to you about it and share their conspiracy theories. He's probably got if he dares step within 30 feet of that little plaza, he's going to have 9 different conspiracy theories to choose from.
Oh no.
It is a take your pick conspiracy theory.
I can't wait.
It's going to be a lot of fun. He's going to latch on to something big, whatever it is.
It's going to be something we don't even know about yet.
I was going to say he can't do flat earth because we have it's not on, man. It's not on my side of the skyline, but on the other side of the skyline, on the western side, we have a cool little globe, little ball. It's like kind of like what the Space Needle is in Seattle, but it's at the top of the spire, it's a ball, and it's a restaurant, and it spins, and all the same things you would expect. So he can't be flat Earth here because he has a good model of the Earth right there. There's a cool science center that says no, it is round. We have things. So I don't know if he's going to be able to do flat Earth here.
I don't know, Josh. It's pretty flat in Texas.
It's pretty flat.
Texas is pretty flat.
It's not going to help. He goes anywhere. He goes 3 miles north, and he's going to realize just how flat this place is. So yeah, when he goes up to Choctaw, when he goes up to Durant, he's gonna just see just how flat it is. But there's a lot of other conspiracy theories. Don't you worry. Dallas is chock full of them.
Outstanding.
Oh my! I'll close our Kyrie conversation with this because obviously we're killing this trade, and I agree with you guys. I think this is not going to go well for Dallas in the end. I don't think it. In other words, I don't think it actually helps them get better. So the three of us are killing this trade, as are many people, and maybe you're perhaps more of a casual NBA fan, and you're thinking to yourself, well, then why would Dallas do this? It is because of the talent of Kyrie Irving. He might be 30, but he's dropping 27 a night. This man is one of the most talented, gifted individuals to pick up a basketball. His ball handling, his ability to get to the rim, like it's just so graceful and beautiful. Some of the moves he could pull off. That you do look at Luka and you look at Kyrie and you think, wow, what if those two played together? But the same thought process that thinks that's a good idea is also the same process that thought that James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant on the same basketball court was like, wow, that's so much offense. And you like throw in Joe Harris at the time was like a top 5 3-point shooter in the NBA. Again, just because you're a big name star does not mean that you will play well together. I don't think that LeBron and Kevin Durant would play well together. I also am not sure LeBron and Giannis would play together. Like you have to have the right pairing. There is only one basketball, and that's the same thing here. I don't know if Luke is going to be.
Aaron. There really is just at the end of the day one basketball.
I don't know. Kyrie might have a bit different take on that.
Just a basket pancake.
Like I don't know if Luke is going to be willing. I think he'll be willing because I really like. And by the way, I really like Luka. I really like Dallas. I kind of hope this works out for them. I'm not wishing any ill will against them.
Well, no, not at all. Well, he's willing to stay despite the frustrations. I will say. I'm hoping for your point. If this trade doesn't work and chaos does ensue, and it's clear, it's saying 3 years. This Kyrie Irving trade isn't working. At that point, the Rockets are ready to rise. It's not going to take 3 years. Let's be generous.
3 months. 3 months.
3 by Friday.
Their first round playoff exit is when that'll really kick in.
Mm-hmm.
You have to start worrying about is Luka going to be patient enough to wait for Dallas to build around him if they're going to be making flubs like this? You got to be if this doesn't work and it's clear that Dallas is either going to get a big name draw or just try and find talent and not actually work on getting a team, I don't see him staying here more than 3 or 4 years if he's going to waste again. Like a LeBron situation. In retrospect, we understands how frustrated LeBron was and why. I mean,
Yeah.
we are going to mock the decision and the whole thing, but I mean, I 100% get and support him going to a place where they were going to build a team.
I will
And
say
it
this to give
wasn't-
Dallas
yeah.
credit, though, Josh. They're trying.
Yeah.
While
You're
we
exactly
might
right. They're
not
trying
like
so much more.
what they're doing, they're trying.
They're
The
giving it their best
biggest dig
shot.
on Cleveland was, dude, like, how are you helping LeBron? What,
Yeah,
you're going to bring an
exactly.
old Shaq? Like, that's not going to do anything for you. Like, just the amount that front office and ownership did to actually try to surround LeBron, it was really like, well, why isn't LeBron like doing this? It was, I don't know. His second best player is Boobie Gibson and Delonte West and Anderson Varejao. It doesn't work,
Hey,
man. Like,
I don't
let's try
want
not to throw those guys under the bus.
That was a great year.
Hey, like, let's be honest. Anybody who's in the NBA, and if you're starting on any team, dude, you made it. You are awesome at basketball. But we're talking in perspective here, and in the context of the NBA, they didn't take any swings. So I will give Dallas at least that credit, and they do deserve that credit because that's what fans ask for all the time is, hey, go for it. And if we don't make it, you tried. You did what you could. And that's the one thing I will also say. Who else on the market? And this was brought up to me. Who else on the market is there that you could get at that asking price at that talent? But that's what we're talking about. This is a massive risk reward scale here that we're really weighing to where this is going to work out brilliantly or terribly. I really don't see anywhere in the middle occurring.
Yeah, because you don't have to play you don't have to be a top 5 defense in the NBA to win a title, but you can't be bottom 5. You can't. Right. You will not win
top half.
So short of just outscoring, short of putting up 150 points a night, I don't see how this gives Dallas the potential to make any deeper of a run in the postseason than they could. There's more that we could say about this. I'm not convinced that Kevin Durant is staying in Brooklyn in the next year or two. He could be traded maybe as soon as this season. If the cards align, if Brooklyn's like, hey, we're not winning a title this year with just Kevin Durant. And I don't know if they think that or not. I have no idea. But if that's what they do, then they think Kevin Durant is at his highest peak potential, probably for trade value, that he will ever be. So now is the time. Maybe. Also, the Lakers went really hard after Kyrie and didn't get it. And LeBron expressed some frustration there. The Phoenix Suns are a team that's kind of in this weird nebulous state. So there's the trade deadline I think it wraps up on Thursday. So there's going to be some more moves. I'm not sure if it's going to be, I don't think it will be this big that we saw with Kyrie to Dallas, but there's going to be something. The Lakers are obviously desperate. They're really bad, but because the West is so mid, literally mid as in there's 10 teams and seeds 2 through 12, the Lakers are not out of the playoff picture. But yeah, Johnny, go ahead.
No. The one I've been hearing rumors on. So when you're looking for trades, look at teams that are stuck in the middle. And they're either really trying to get worse or get better. In the middle is not where you want because you're not going to get in the lottery to have a chance to improve your team that way in the draft. Or you're not going to be able to do that. And you're not going to be able to win more than maybe a game in the playoffs, even if you're just even fighting for a playoff spot. One of those teams, Toronto Raptors, but you have a couple big contracts on that team, and Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam. Siakam's still so young with so much potential. You really don't want to get rid of that guy. The other one is Fred VanVleet on that team. He's making big money at point guard there for the Toronto Raptors. They need to create some cap space, and they really could use some more draft capital. They're already a few games under 500. They're not going to be able to do anything, even if they make a run to make it into the playoffs. It's not happening this year. If you're facing Milwaukee or Philadelphia or Boston, which they'd probably face one of those 3 in the first round, it's not happening. Look at Phoenix, who's been very aggressive. They explored the Kyrie Irving trade. They even explored and were asking Brooklyn about Kevin Durant. They have been struggling up and down this year. There's something off right now in the chemistry of that team. Look at them to try to get another scorer on that team like Fred VanVleet. I don't know what it would cost them, but that would be an interesting move that I've seen some talk about. The Phoenix Suns are really trying to make some moves. Fred VanVleet to Phoenix would be super interesting, in my opinion.
Yeah, Chicago's another team. Zach LaVine is a very likely
Yeah.
trade deadline candidate, so that's another one to watch. All right. Well, we'll probably touch on. I mean, if there's any blockbuster trades that happen, obviously we're going to be breaking down the Super Bowl primarily next week. But if there's some crazy action, we'll be breaking it down next week. So tune into that. Real quick before we head into picks of the week, did you guys tune into the Pro Bowl? And if so, thoughts, good or bad?
I did not.
I did not. I saw highlights of Derek Carr basically doing the most.
Yes.
Auditioning
I
auditioning for any other team.
Yes.
I like some of the fun games, but
Yeah,
I don't feel like it was marketed very well. I didn't know
No.
some of that stuff was starting on,
Yep.
and I think like Joe Burrow and Josh Allen not doing it, and the number of opt-outs really kind of made me also disinterested. Like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow are there. Maybe I hunt it down a little bit better. I think there's going to have to be some sort of contract incentive really to keep those guys there to go to the game. I understand why they don't, but without them, it's I don't know. It's just not as fun for me.
Yeah, that's understandable. I mean, it was $82,000 for each team or each player on the winning team, $42,000 on the losing team. I really liked it. I think actually because of what you said, Johnny, Amon-Ra St. Brown was featured like the whole night. Jared Goff was playing quarterback at times. So it was like and like Penei Sewell was out there breaking walls. Like as a Lions fan, there was a lot of intrigue and interest. I understand. Yeah. If you're a Bengals fan, there wasn't, I mean, you had some players out there, but wasn't like Hendrickson was. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
Overall, I think this may be slightly an unpopular opinion. I really enjoyed it. My wife and I watched it together, and it was a blast. Like, I feel like the whole point is not that you're going to see a legitimate all-star game between players playing their hardest. That's never going to happen. It rarely happened in the past. The point should be, hey, here's some of our best players, or at the very least, here's some of our most entertaining players with some like fun, outgoing personalities. These guys weren't wearing helmets. They had mics everywhere, so you could hear what guys were doing. They were celebrating. They were goofing off. They were having a fun time. That, to me, is really kind of what the spirit of this sort of thing should be. Because you're not going to get this alternate universe where you're getting NFC versus AFC and they're going head-to-head. Let's see who's better. You're never going to get that. You're never truly going to get that. Major League Baseball is probably the only sport you really get that. I know Major League Soccer does it a little bit differently with their All-Stars where they actually play like a European team. But Major League Baseball is just well suited for that. You do have the ability to actually try your hardest because if you're a pitcher, you're out there 1 inning max. Anyways, I could go on and on about that. You get the point. I thought it was great. I think I agree with you. It was not marketed very well. I think a lot of people were surprised by some of the early events. They're like, wait, this is happening right now. So I think the NFL has a little bit of work to do, but I thought a solid start, and I'm sure they'll tweak some things. And but overall, I thought it was fun. I don't know, maybe unpopular, maybe not. Anyways, all right, picks of the week. Speaking of the Brooklyn Nets, the Boston Celtics, we picked their game against the Nets. Just to add insult to injury, Brooklyn, of course, ended up on the wrong side of one of the most lopsided trades in history with the Boston Celtics nearly, 10 years ago at this point? Anyways, Boston has won 10 straight against Brooklyn, including just a complete blowout against Brooklyn on the first. That was the game we picked. We all thought Boston, we were all correct, so we picked the individual score. And Josh, I have good news that you were the closest to the right score. So congratulations, Josh, on getting the closest to the right score.
Who?
So
Things
good job
are
on
looking
that.
up.
So that means our current scoreboard is myself with 56, Johnny with 51, and Josh with 49. And that takes us to, of course, the Super Bowl. So we are picking not only the Super Bowl winner, but we're going to go ahead and pick the MVP as well. I went back and forth on mine, not the Super Bowl pick. I think the Eagles are going to win by a touchdown. But I went back and forth between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. I ultimately went with Jalen Hurts. I think he's going to do enough. He'll probably score a couple rushing touchdowns. That might put him over the edge if he rushes for 1 or 2, passes for 1 or 2, does a good job, leads his team well like he has all season. They're 14-1 when he's a starter and doesn't make a big mistake. I think he could win the MVP. And I think the Eagles are going to claim another Super Bowl.
This one was tough because on one hand, Mahomes is that guy. He is that good. He can make this happen. At the same time, I freaking hate Jackson Mahomes. And so I can't in good faith. I don't want to see him twerking or whatever he does down on the field. And I realize Patrick has done the offseason work to make his family be much quieter.
Honestly, that's the most impressive thing he's accomplished this year.
It's you don't have to see his TikToks if you don't want to anymore. Like, it's totally fine. On principle, I can't pick them yet. One less Jackson Mahomes TikTok is worth it, so I will pick Philly. And I'll go ahead and do Jalen Hurts as well for the MVP. I am boring, but I will pick the over on the.
Excellent!
I'll pick the over on the
National Anthem.
Yeah. And you know what? Like I said, I'm picking. What did I say? The earlier in the podcast, I think I listed the attendance, whatever that number is. That's what I said. That's what I'll have.
All right, got it.
I'm also picking Philly, so congratulations, Chiefs.
Yeah,
you've won the Super Bowl.
Congratulations, Jackson. Yeah, you can dance again.
And obviously, I mentioned before, I've gone back and forth on both of these teams, but I can't get over the fact that Philly's roster is just so healthy and so much better than the Chiefs. It just is. And I think Patrick will be running for his life because, as Aaron mentioned, all of these defensive linemen can get after the quarterback. And I don't know if all of them can chase down Patrick, but as we saw when they played the Buccaneers, he has to have some amount of time, as every quarterback does. He's still a quarterback. He's still human. And he has to be able to sit in the pocket for a majority of the game and throw an accurate ball. I don't think the receivers are going to get open often enough. And I think he's going to have to be able to force a lot. He'll make some spectacular plays, I'm sure. But I also, if I'm being honest with myself, would love to see Philly win just so the national media could shut up about Patrick Mahomes for another week. So I got Philly, and I have A.J. Brown. Aaron mentioned him earlier winning the MVP award. Wouldn't be surprised if A.J. Brown wins it. I think if Philly wins, that will mean A.J. Brown has a big game. Devontae Smith will also get a lot of attention probably in this game as well. I even thought about picking him because he's more prone to get some end rounds, jet sweeps perhaps in this game. A.J. Brown's that big body receiver, though, that I think will be able to put these young corners and secondary for the Chiefs in their place. I think he gets a couple touchdowns, maybe even over 100 yards, and I think the Eagles actually win by 10 in this game. I think they put them down.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Chiefs, on your Super Bowl. Well, when we get annoyed with people, places, and things, we send them straight to jail. All right, so this is under the category of people. So there's an organization out there called the Orange Crush. Now, they are I think it's the name of the Illinois Fighting Illini student section for basketball. Now, they do this thing every year where they go to an away game and make a bunch of noise and root on their team. And honestly, that's kind of cool. Like, if you're willing to take the time and the money and to go to a away arena and, you know, try to mess with the opponent, good for you. Except they decided that this year they're going to Iowa. So, you know, they're trying to get group tickets. They're trying to get them as cheap as they can. So they said that they were an Illinois chapter of the Boys and Girls Club. And Iowa, being the good-hearted people that they are, said, "Oh, that's great. Here's some discounted tickets." Well, then of course they found out that no, this is just a student section. By the way, this is the 20th trip, I believe, that this Orange Crush organization has taken. So obviously, it goes without saying, you lied. You got cheap tickets that you didn't deserve that should have gone to someone else. Orange Crush, and we'll just lump. I'm not going to lump Illinois because they didn't really have anything to do with it. But Orange Crush, straight to jail. You guys are the worst.
Aaron, did you see who they pretended to be though? They pretended to be buying like the organization that they mapped themselves as was like the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, I said that.
Like, oh, you did say that. Okay,
yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry, I missed that part. But I will say with Iowa, did you mention who they gave those tickets to?
No, I did not.
Since like it was too late. So Iowa actually decided to give those tickets to the Boys and Girls Clubs locally in
nice.
Iowa.
Well done.
So instead of trying to like turn around and sell probably decent tickets, they are giving them to those local organizations.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool for Iowa.
Well,
Good job, Iowa.
Good job. Straight out of jail, free for Iowa. Well done. Well done. All right. Yeah. Anyways, that's my straight to jail.
So my my straight to jail is the inventor of my key fob on my car. So without telling everybody exactly what my car is, so it's a 2012 Kia Optima. It's a push start, which means don't steal my car. I think those apparently are easier to steal right now. So your battery and your fob dies. That stinks, right? But normally with the old cars, all you do is stick your key in to unlock it if you have to. You're still putting it into the ignition. It's really not that. But since it's a push start, it always just knows when it's the key fob is in the car and it starts, right? And that's how you push the button. So you're like, what happens when the battery dies? So I can still unlock the car like an old-fashioned like key. That's normal. That's fine. To start the car now, there is a little spot in my glove compartment that I must put it into. First question, why in a glove compartment? That makes no sense. Just put it in the center console, man. But it's in the glove compartment. This thing, I do not think every person would be able to pull it out of this after you like push it in to start the car. You have to yank it out. I'm not sure every person actually is physically able to get that key out of the car after it's been inserted in there. So I actually literally ripped up my hand the other day trying to pull it out. So inventor of the key fob for Kia, or I guess push starts in general, straight to jail. Push starts suck.
Guys, Burger King did it again. And this is a different thing. This is a different thing, but it is still with the ads. Here's what they did. This is not original to them, but it is worse. They also have an ad, and I'm going to be very careful. I want you to, if you're listening to this like in public with no headphones, first off, why? Put headphones on, please.
Also, just don't listen to anything in public without headphones.
Why are you?
Don't do that.
Put headphones on.
Don't do that.
They make them.
You have
it's
them.
great.
They're even wireless now.
You can put wire. You don't need wires. It's just please don't listen to us in public. Anyway,
you're scarring yourself. On regardless. Okay, you're taking responsibility for that.
And you're
going to scar other people. Okay.
So, honestly, if you listen to something, I know this isn't any of our straight to jail, but if you listen out loud in public to things, straight to jail, man.
Straight to jail.
In general, grocery store, library, restaurant.
It's $20 to get a pair of Bluetooth headphones, because I realize not everything has the headphone jack anymore.
Or the wires. Whatever.
Just it's $20. Little buds. They're fine. Anyway, put them on anyway, because I'm about to say a phrase that'll trigger your home device. What Burger King did is they threw in the middle of their ads recently. I've not heard it yet, but I'm very careful now. No. If you say, "Okay, Google," it'll in the ad it'll say, "Okay, Google, tell me what the Whopper is," or something like that. And what it does is Google. Okay. Oh, darn it! I triggered my thing. Anyway, you're gonna hear it yell. I tried to make it not. Hold on. Okay, Google, stop. It's fine now.
But Josh, you just stopped other people's, so thank you.
It's perfect. You're welcome. Yep. You say the ad says phrase, what is a Whopper? And how these home devices are set up is that they're automatically read from Wikipedia. And Wikipedia has a standard. Before it had a standard definition for what the Whopper was. And BK, it was a gag, it's fine. Well, what you can do on Wikipedia is you can edit it. We've talked about the glories of this previously.
Yes.
The internet is an unforgiving place, and I will not repeat the phrases that it made Google say. But you can very easily change that first sentence, and Google doesn't know. It's just gonna read what Wikipedia says. So it very much said very coarse things, and so straight to jail for Burger King not knowing better. They've been on the internet for long. They have the whole King thing.
Yeah.
They've done internet stuff. Now, they've also done bad internet stuff before. If you remember their whole "women belong in the kitchen" tweet from a few years ago.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
So they've historically just had a bad time.
All
with the
press is
internet,
good
so-
press.
This one wasn't. So straight to jail for them not understanding how the internet works.
Yep.
Josh, I went to Burger King today. Actually,
You what?
I got a
No.
I got a I got a
No.
coupon in
You're
the
letting them
I
win,
got a coupon
Johnny.
in the mail.
They
I got
won.
a coupon.
Johnny, I'm switching it out. You straight to jail.
I got a coupon, man.
You
It
have
was
to
cheap.
resist.
I hadn't had
Text me
chicken
next time.
fries
I'll
in
make sure-
forever. A small Coke at Burger King is as large as my head.
That's
I mean,
true.
it's. I would have done it
It's
just
$1
for
at
that.
McDonald's. I don't know if it is
Yeah,
up in
but
your
it's
place.
not that size. That's a small at Burger King. Plus, I hadn't had chicken fries in forever, and chicken fries are pretty great.
I'll
Let's-
make you
let's be
chicken fries. I
honest.
will make you chicken fries down here, and I will ship them up to you.
Burger King fries aren't bad. Now, the service at Burger
They're fine.
King is awful. So
Awful.
that's
I think that's
honestly,
required at this point.
it's bad. I had a coupon. It was fine. Anyway, it wasn't planned. Yeah, I'll accept the straight to jail though. I understand. I'm not really gonna fight that.
Yeah.
Oh right, we're done. Now we're following stuff.
Yeah, because we weren't following stuff just now. We're going to follow some more stuff. All right, I'll go pretty quick. We all picked the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl. And I withheld a key piece of information because we actually know that the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. Not because of a script, but because of a man named Furkan Korkmaz. And if you said, who is Furkan Korkmaz?
I love this guy.
Yeah, everyone's asking that question. Unless you're a Philadelphia 76ers fan, you know who this guy is, because this guy who, by the way, averages 3.8 points per game, 1.2 rebounds, 0.7 assists. So nothing spectacular, clearly. Now, as Johnny pointed out earlier, if you're in the league, congrats, you're an insane basketball player. But from an NBA perspective and point of view, not that great. Well, for the second time in his Philadelphia 76ers career, he has requested or demanded a trade, depending on how emphatic you want to get with this request. You know when he also demanded/requested a trade? 2018. The Eagles won the Super Bowl that year. So 2023, Korkmaz requesting a trade. Eagles win the Super Bowl. It's happening. Book it. Bet all your Monopoly money. The Eagles are gonna do it simply because this man, the 26th pick back in 2016, has requested/demanded a trade for the second time in his mostly unknown career. So there you go. Oh, also,
Nice.
LeBron is about to become the all-time leading scorer in the NBA, so I feel like that should be mentioned and will be.
Oh, yeah, were
by
you
the
seeing
time
ticket prices
you
for
hear
that
this
thing?
episode, most likely. So
Yeah, nobody's really talking about that. That's sad. Josh, is yours positive? Is it a happy
is-
following?
It is.
Okay, then I'll go first so that we end on a positive. So I'll start off with my neutral one, I guess. So this is another. Johnny found something on Twitter that he thought was interesting, and it's a question for Aaron and Josh. But if you're a listener, please answer as well. So if you had an opportunity, you had to score one basket and you would win a sum of money. Now, it depends on the competition, how much money you're winning. Now, you just have to score a bucket. We're not saying 1v1, like to 11 or something. No. Like, you got to make a bucket, but you get one, I'll say one possession, not necessarily one shot, one possession. So let me give you your scale here. On a fifth grader, you score a bucket on a fifth grader, $1 million. Eighth grader, $10 million. Varsity player, we're saying high school varsity player, $50 million. Division I player, $100 million. NBA player, $500 million. And the last one says prime Kobe, but let's rest in peace, Kobe. Let's put like more like current LeBron.
I was just gonna say prime Tony Allen defensively. Oh my gosh.
Good God,
Or
no,
just
that's
Giannis
$1 billion.
or Shaq.
That would just be a billionaire.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not,
get all
I'm
the
not-
money. Yeah.
I'm gonna say LeBron, $600 million. Who are you choosing? Where are you going?
I've
Josh?
got. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Josh, and then I'll answer.
Ooh, I sometimes struggle to make a basket when no one is there. So I am
Fair.
taking the cheap, easy option.
Fifth grader for $1 million.
Give me Fifth grader. I can
I
do a
love
lot with
that.
$1 million. I'm gonna start.
You should be
I
able to
am
dunk
not
on a fifth grader, basically. So
exact. I'll take the guaranteed mil and I'll invest that, and it'll be fine. And I'll keep. Listen, not a great thing to dunk on a kid, but like he'll grow from it. It's a learning experience.
yeah,
And I'm not
this
gonna be.
kid will
I'm
be
not
in
gonna
the
be.
dirt. I won't feel bad at all. Are you kidding me? I'll give him
Exactly, yeah.
some. I'll give him
Yeah,
some of
that's
the
true.
money.
I'll give him 10 grand. I'll be like, here, kid, go buy yourself a lot of candy. I don't know what fifth
Yeah.
graders buy.
Here's a
Go
year's
buy
worth
more.
of ice cream
Here,
money.
Yeah.
go buy V-Bucks. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. My question
Aaron.
is, Josh, I'm assuming there's a referee here. Like, so you can't like sucker punch someone and then drive to the rim. Right?
Oh no, I'm also for $1 million.
I'll
I'll do a
allow
lot
that
for $1
against
million.
an
I don't.
NBA player.
That was my
Yeah,
thing.
I'm
Like,
not.
NBA or
I'm not drop
LeBron,
kicking a
you're
kid
allowed.
for
I'm
$1
going to
million,
allow
yeah.
that because you will face the consequences.
yeah. So that was my original thought is like, well, if I could just sucker punch LeBron, but then I'm like, wait a minute, my fist
Your
would hit
hand would
his
break.
jaw and my wrist would shatter, and I'd fall to the ground, and LeBron would then push me into the paint, would back me down, would dunk on me, and my body would descend through the basketball court into the Earth's crust. So that's not going to go very well. My actual answer. Oh, my other question is: I assume the 5th and or 8th grader is just selected at random, like of all the 8th graders in the world. Okay, so I'm taking 8th grade. I feel pretty confident. I enjoy basketball. I play once or twice a week. I think that a random 8th grader, I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm 6'2". I'm a bigger guy, so I think I could back down an 8th grader, get a layup, go to my post game, and I can get that 10 mil. I think that's where I'm going.
Yeah. The prideful, arrogant part of me says, man, I could take a high school player, but we're saying a random high
Yeah.
school varsity player. Like, I don't think everybody understands. Some of these guys are already like 6'6", 6'8". Like maybe they're not like built like LeBron, obviously yet, but they're plenty strong. And I'm not in the gym playing basketball often enough to risk that. Now, I could also get some basketball kid from like dinky division 6th division high school
Right.
in North Dakota, and I'd be fine, but I'm not risking that. I'm with Aaron. $10 million nearly guaranteed really at that point. I love that. 10 mil. Let's go. Also, quick rant. So now that we're done with that, let us know in the comments what you would risk. Do you think you could take an NBA player? Because you're foolish if you think that, but you know, all are welcome on the podcast. Fools too. We haven't talked much about Buckeye basketball on this podcast.
There's a reason
First
for
off,
that.
because college football, NFL take precedent for another week. The Buckeyes just lost this weekend to the team up north. It's the only time that they're playing against them. But I'm actually not going to rant today about Chris Holtmann, necessarily the coach of the Buckeyes, and the team and how awfully they're playing. And they're playing terribly and completely uninspired basketball. And while they probably aren't nearly good enough to compete with Purdue for the Big Ten title, them not making the NCAA tournament, which they won't, will be a complete disaster of a season with the 8th recruiting class in the country this season. That is awful and horrendous. No, I'm really going to lay into the national media and basketball media that continues to basically insinuate that the Buckeye fans are idiots and don't understand how good of a coach Chris Holtmann is, and be careful what you wish for. Well, be careful what we wish for. I understood that thought process with Thad Matta, who got the Buckeyes to 2 Final Fours, who won multiple Big Ten championships, who won the Big Ten tournament, who got to the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 regularly. Be careful what you wish for. Chris Holtmann's an excellent recruiter. He seems like a decent man, and I want all of my coaches to be that, of course. But we haven't made one Sweet 16 in the 7 years he's been here. Sweet 16. And everyone's like, oh man, like you're just putting the football expectations on basketball. Guys, one Sweet 16. Yeah. Like that's all. One, we couldn't get one with the resources, the money, the recruits. This is a disaster. It's a shame. And if he doesn't get to the Sweet 16 next year, he should be gone. I think I'm being generous by giving him next season, but I'll give him next year. I don't understand the national media of like, well, he's a great How? Show me the proof that he's a good coach. Sometimes I just feel like they belittle the fans and like, oh, you guys, you're so, you're so emotional. You don't know any better. What? First off, fan is short for fanatic. And two, it's because we care. And there's no results. There's no results. Michigan's having a very similar year, albeit slightly better. But you know what the difference is? Juwan Howard's got them deep into the tournament. They've gotten past the first weekend. There's something to rely on there. There's something to actually look at and say, well, okay, like I know we're struggling right now, but we've seen evidence in the past that he can get it going late in the year. We've seen we've actually had some decent results here. This Buckeye team is on the road to nowhere. They look terrible. The only win that they've had in the new year is Iowa, and that's just because they outscored them in a blitz of a shootout. They still played no defense. Bryce Sensabaugh, your best player, is off to the NBA after this year. So I don't want to hear the whole, well, they're so young. Well, everybody is in college basketball now. And guess what? The biggest problems on your team are actually the upperclassmen because they're not leaders. They don't show any heart on the court and they don't play defense. So national media, like, you can look at the statistics and tell me that the team is good and better than their record. Their record is their record, and you're clearly not watching the games, and you're just looking at stats. So there's my Buckeye basketball rant. I really probably won't talk about them on this podcast the rest of the year, but now it's off my chest. All right, Josh, let's end on a positive note.
Welcome to Chess Heads.
Yeah.
Yes. The podcast. No new Chess Heads update. There are people at random colleges trying to recreate the potential alleged cheating devices. Wearables is one of the big theories that he had. So they're trying to recreate the feasibility of that. But that's just everything else is in litigation. I'm going to tell you guys about a competition that I think we all could do well in. Well, I think at least Aaron and I.
Wow.
Johnny, you can work your way up to it. You can work your way up to it.
Wow.
I'm talking about the World Sleep Championships.
Ooh,
yeah, I'd fail at this. Nope.
This is a real
I don't want to
competition. Be good. Started in 2020 because that's all we really could do in 2020. And they had their World Sleep Championship back in 2022. I'm forgetting when. It was like in October, I think. And I'm just going to give you guys a quick little bit of the rundown of the rules. I think this is something that we can all do really well. There are qualifying rounds, there are head-to-head rounds, and then there's finally elimination rounds. So qualifying, 2 weeks prior to the tournament, all of the registered athletes, you can register right now. I don't think it costs much. It can't cost much. Registered athletes will face off in a qualifying round. You're going to qualify after 2 nights of sleeping. Now, you might be wondering, how do they measure sleep with Fitbits? You will track your sleep with one of their approved wearables. Things like REM, sleep time, quality of sleep. They have a thing called sleep efficiency, which is their own metric. And basically, it's just head to head. Whoever can sleep the best after 2 or 3 nights, they average it out. And if you sleep better, you go on to the next round, and it goes all the way, kind of like a round robin style after qualifying, and then you go into single eliminations.
So
you go and you win.
I feel like there's opportunity for this to just blow up and be huge because number one, everyone sleeps, but number two, just like baseball in their steroid era, you're gonna get the sleep championships in the melatonin era or something. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have people juicing, but it's like reverse juicing where they're trying to knock themselves out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they have already they already have a zero tolerance policy for Xanax, timoprazine, triazolam. Any proven use of such substances will result in official review by a tribunal of REM lords.
Oh my gosh.
That's their ruling body.
Okay, I can get behind that. I can get behind the governance model.
Of which will result in a minimum sentence of a 12-month ban from sleep racing competitions and possible community service, e.g. 1,000 hours of mosquito eradication duties. Wow. Natural supplements like melatonin and chamomile tea are allowed.
Oh, interesting.
Oh. Sleep assistive devices are also permitted, such as pajamas, eye masks, earplugs, weighted blankets, and scented pillows. So anything
Now,
that's a bit
interesting.
more perhaps homeopathic. Prices
Yeah.
are
I
yet
will
to
say
be
this.
announced.
I could
There's
be
no
really good
official.
at this under the right circumstance.
You have to start practicing, Johnny, and by
Well,
that I mean
no,
sleep more than 5 hours a night.
well, you know what I would have. No, I don't practice. You know what I'd have to do? I would
Wait,
have to go on like a
off.
16-mile hike, eat a whole bucket of chicken, a box of mac and cheese, and like then arrive at the at the competition because I will pass out in that
Well, you have to be doing
circumstance.
this, and you have to do this like every day because it's multiple. I mean, this is over the
Oh,
course of
this is
2 or 3
multiple
weeks.
days? Oh,
Yeah, no,
no,
this
I
is
don't have a
multiple
chance
days.
then. Nope, never mind.
No,
I don't have
yeah,
a
it's
chance.
2 weeks prior to the main
Okay.
tournament. They'll assign you for
Nope.
qualifying, and then that'll seed you. And then
Chance.
it's 5 rounds to follow a Swiss style format when they break in between rounds for rest and recovery. So it's a
Wait,
10-day.
What's rest and recovery? Dear
Sometimes you
Lord.
sleep. Sometimes you sleep too well, and have to rest from your rest. It's a 5 round. These 5 rounds will take 10 days in total. Each round, sleep racers are given 1 point for a win or 0 points for a loss. So you have to, if you do this, Johnny, you're hiking 25 miles and eating chicken and mac and cheese every day for like a good 10 days, and
That
then
does sound glorious, by the way.
it's I believe it's single elimination, 3 rounds, single elimination head to heads for the finals. So this is like
Wow.
a 3-week total thing.
My goodness.
So
The advanced analytics that are going to come from something like this is just kind of insane.
Right?
I'm not going to lie.
Oh my gosh.
you can join quite a few. I mean, there's leagues already starting. In the 2021, so this is a bit archived, but again, they're still working on it. Again, it's new. They're working on the Kings. In the 2021 World Sleep Championship, each league had 128 sleep racers. Depending on registration numbers, there's about 5 to 10 leagues. So you had League 1, the Hypnos League, you had the REM League, you had the Dark League, you had the Snooze League, and you had the Insomnia League. So there are.
That's insane.
This is fantastic. This is something we all should be doing anyway.
Mhm. This time
It's
next
glorious.
year, it'll be one of our
This
main
time next year.
topics. Sleep League.
Sleep League. We'll have that'll be where the betting really gets interesting.
Can you imagine covering that on live television? Like it just
have to
cuts to
whisper.
people, different people. Yeah,
It's-
it's very like golf
imagine
announcing.
watching.
Yeah.
You'd have
imagine
to be
golf,
quieter
but-
than a
but-
golf
but
whisper.
fewer.
True.
Golf, but fewer things happening.
As in,
Oh
absolutely
man,
nothing.
he rolled over.
Yeah.
He rolled over. Is he waking up? Is he?
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, nope.
Yeah.
He's okay. He's all right.
he's okay.
It was subconscious.
That's crazy.
That blanket's slipping off though. I don't know. He might get.
He might get chilly.
Yeah, you might. All right. Well, that wraps up what we're following. And hey, here's the deal. We appreciate this group of people, and this group of people meaning you, the listener, that has made it to the end of yet another episode. We know that you are the most dedicated. We even did a giveaway just for you guys a few weeks ago. But here's the deal. We love what we're following. We joke that it's our favorite segment, but I think it might actually be. We're about to hit episode 100, which means in theory there have been 300 what we're followings, which is just insane. If you have some that you are your favorites, let us know, because in addition to episode 100, which will come out in a couple weeks, we're also going to release a special episode called The Best of What We're Following. So we'll go back through 2 years worth of episodes. We'll find some of the very best things. Really, this may just turn into Josh's own podcast episode, which I'm all for. But we're going to release that shortly after episode 100. So if there's any that stick out to you that was like, those were good, let us know. We'll make sure they get included. Obviously, we can't include that many because we will try to keep it to a reasonable time, but that will be releasing in a couple weeks. So if you're listening to the end of this podcast, you're a real one. And so you get the news broken to you first. I think that does conclude this episode. Again, I want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. As always, we really enjoy getting to hang out for an hour and talk sports and everything else. And make sure you follow us on social media. If you did not see already, we're about to record a YouTube video, and it's basically the most cursed college mascots in history, and it's just pure nightmare fuel. So we're about to go record that, and we'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned to our social media and our YouTube to find the end results of that, especially if you voted in our poll. We'll also be covering Wright State, Northern Kentucky later this week. Johnny and I will be heading to the Nutter Center to take in some college basketball. So also, as always, stay tuned to our social media accounts. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Have a good one.
Aaron, I assume we're gonna need to